these photos. Like, why are you showing these photos of this girl, this decomposed body of this girl? Like, is it to show motive? And the prosecutor's like,
Sympathy.
no.
No, sympathy.
Yeah, it's empathy, and they really tear them apart. Like, there's no way that that this proves anything, whether guilt or innocence. It just shows that someone who's not a little girl, who doesn't look like a little girl.
Right.
So, and this one of the prosecutors on the case, Pat O'Brien. If you're from Chicago, he sounds he's
Pat
known.
O'Brien. Yeah.
Pat O'Brien, because he was one of the Cook County state's attorney. He worked in Cook County State's Attorney's office. He wanted to be the Cook County State's Attorney. He tried to run against Kim Foxx this last election. This guy's a piece of shit. I never liked Pat O'Brien. I never liked that fucking squirmy fucking snake. He's a fucking snake. And the shit he was saying, like, look, I hate to get political on this, but short rant. Kim
Too
Fox
late.
ain't,
Too late.
yeah, Kim Fox ain't perfect. There's some things like she's done, and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? There's some things it's like, okay,
Quite a
good,
few
like,
things. She ain't the
yeah,
worst, but she's you
she,
ain't got to be the worst to be doing terrible shit.
yeah, and there's some things like, hey, keep the prison population down. Okay, cool. You call it with some fucking weed. Who the fuck cares? Shit. Not a gateway drug. Not going to be doing weed and fucking trying to blow up the Sears Tower.
Here we
But
go.
this the shit that Pat O'Brien and his supporters were saying against her, it was some racist ass fucking shit. And fuck them and
Always.
fuck Pat O'Brien and the motherfucker. I hope he gets hit by a goddamn train.
He going to jail.
Yeah,
Jail.
I said I hope.
Jail.
I could dream. Because he's a piece of shit. And
Yikes.
him and Daly and in that office, what they did to his family is it's incomprehensible. It's not even like we believe like we're trying to do good. It was like, no, you're
Right.
not. You have the evidence clearly that it's someone else, and you still went there anyway. And still to this day, a lot of these guys in the a lot of these guys and retired police officers, the police officers are still there, still believe the family did it, still believe David and Cynthia did it, and they can kiss my ass
I
because
mean, it really is. It really is about making sure that the system um, isn't questioned,
yeah,
regardless of what that price is, which is usually people with not a whole lot of power getting screwed over,
mm-hmm.
and they really don't. I mean, it's that's usually what it is.
Yeah. And yeah, this family got screwed over. It was like even during the Court of Appeal hearing, you heard like they brought up my father again, his testimony, and it was like, well, he saw a big nose. Well, literally, like what my father, because Paul Hogan and David Providence ended up interviewing my father again, and like he was like, why would you pick out David Dowaliby's nose? That's when we found out that David Dowaliby's picture in the lineup was 40% bigger than everyone else's.
Right.
And he was like this is what they were kind of pointing to.
Yeah.
Like he like even during the trial, my father was like, look, if you put up a picture of Pat O'Brien's nose, because Pat O'Brien had a significant schnoz, I would have and said and put him on a lineup, I would have probably picked up Pat O'Brien.
Right.
And like literally, someone goes like, "Okay, this guy's not a witness." Okay, well, thank you for your time. That's how that shit ends.
Right.
No, it's this is all we got. We gotta fucking
Yeah,
prep them
and that
up and
happens
shit.
often. It happens often.
And to save their asses, I don't know who the fuck brought this up, whether it was the prosecution and defense. They got. I didn't know this. My father tried to become a cop, and I gotta preface this. I gotta answer this shit because I've seen this on a lot of when I'm doing research. Seeing this on a lot of
Hmm.
message boards. Supposedly my father had mental issues,
Hmm.
that he applied to be a Chicago police officer and was dismissed um, for mental issues. Say it was a manic depressant and whatever. Never told me that shit. I don't believe it's true. I didn't know he applied to be a cop, which just lowers it. Just lowers it just a little bit more. It's like, oh,
Right, that didn't
Jesus
make the
Christ.
situation better.
Yeah, like this is not making the situation better. I don't think none of that shit's true. I think the cops have put it there just to, and I'm not defending him because he's a fucking asshole. And if that's a mental condition, then he's guilty as charged. And not even to make fun of people who have mental issues, because everyone has a damn mental issue. Shit, fucking anger could be a mental issue, even if it's justified or not. But somebody probably put it there to save their own ass.
Right.
Is probably that's probably what the case. Somebody put it there to save their own ass. So
it wouldn't be the first time. Again, it wouldn't be the first time. It was not the last time.
Mm-hmm. And it happens over and over and over again. And it's happening right now. But so the appellate court hears all the evidence, and in unprecedented, they rule on October 30th, 1991. Holy crap! That's 2 days. Well, if you're listening to this, it's Friday or Saturday, so it's 2 days from now. Holy crap! What a coincidence!
Right.
They ended up reversing David's conviction.
Okay.
And setting him free.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, they ended up setting him free. They said that evidence was not significant to be sent over to the jury, and if the judge dismissed the case against Cynthia, they should have done the same for David. They pissed off then mayor, who just got elected mayor, Richard Daley, who famously said, well, if you could just reverse jury's decision, was a need for juries.
Right.
Might as well just have judges, which we just go.
And sometimes you can, right? You can do a jury trial, you can do a judge trial. Sometimes the judges overrule the juries.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes it happens.
This legal system is all kinds of confusing.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering if David and Cynthia didn't do this, who did it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. Who else could have been a suspect? Because it's clear the cops didn't even search. Cops didn't even search. They got him out of jail. They reversed the conviction, but it seems like the cops did not continue searching. If it wasn't going to be him, then they weren't going to try to find out who did this to this child.
Yeah, because they figured that they had their right person all along, and they got let go on a technicality. So it's like whatever.
Which I don't understand why they can do that.
It is.
I mean, I know it did.
Yeah,
begins with a C and ends in a capitalism, but
and also they got egg on their face.
Yeah.
They got embarrassed. That once this evidence came out, they look like fucking fools.
Of course.
You had the Midlothian Police Department, the Blue Island Police Department, the Crestwood Police Department, the Illinois State Police, the Cook County Sheriff, the FBI.
You gotta stop. Ooh.
Yeah, the FBI, another police department, which we'll talk about in a little bit, the Cook County State's Attorney, and then the mayor of the city of Chicago all got egg on their face. They're sitting there looking at this family, go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves.
But when a prosecution is thrown out, they should be forced to continue looking. Prove that you're not wrong. Mm-hmm. Prove that you're not wrong.
Exactly. But there's two possible suspects in this that has been identified. Okay. During the trial, the Dowaliby's defense attorneys had focused on a convicted sex offender named Perry Hernandez, who committed a similar abduction 1 year after Jaclyn's murder, and his girlfriend lived in Midlothian, I think only a couple blocks away from Jaclyn. and he kidnapped her. He ended up taking a girl out of a home in Blue Island and raping this girl and letting her go. And
what
she
happened to him?
identified. He got arrested. He tried it. He did it again. Yeah, he did it. He did it. He tried to do it twice. He tried to break it in a home, and
Why is he only arrested? How come he's walking? Oh, I'm sorry.
Because nobody's got any damn weapons, so he chop off his fucking weed. So he was convicted for another set of rapes, which were especially that one that happened in, I believe, is Midlothian, was very similar,
right,
to how Jaclyn was taken, except for that little girl ended up surviving. Gosh. I don't think it's him, because the police, yeah, he could be blamed. The police ruled him out. They had him in his radar, but they ruled him out. And I can see why they rule out. This guy was a sloppy drunk who left a trail of evidence. He left, it might as well have been a breadcrumb back to where he was staying. He would get drunk, blackout drunk, and then go and do this shit. Right. Like at one house he broke into, he left his cigarettes, fingerprints all over the damn place. They literally was like, "Oh, we got him. He's over there." And Jaclyn's, they didn't find any fingerprints. Well, they weren't looking for any fingerprints. Right. The prosecution, I forgot not forgot, it was leading up to this. The prosecution had contended that the basement window, that it had to be broke from the inside because no one would be able to break in and be able to get in through that basement window. Okay. The defense attorneys proved that, yeah, you could have. Like, they tried to the thin layer of dust wasn't disturbed. Like, well, first of all, they took a picture of the supposed thin layer of dust 5 weeks after the initial initially investigated that windowsill, because they didn't take any pictures. They didn't note any thin layer of dust. The picture, which you can see online, doesn't look like a thin layer of dust. It looks like a reflection from the sun. Okay. And there was no pictures of any cobwebs around. There's pictures of them taking of that window the day of when they're called on the 10th, but you don't see any cobwebs. So, and the defense proved that, yeah, you can break in from that. Break in through that window. They had their neighbor open up the window and sneak in, and like there's a video of it, of him bracing himself against the wall, because not only under the window was a towel rack and like a table, and him bracing himself against the wall to push off against the wall to not disturb that towel rack. Okay. And there were boxes by that window, and that had an indentation on those boxes. And also the fact that there's another back door that's in that basement also. So they could have broke the window and thought they were making too much noise, and went in that back basement like window door, sliding door, and open that up, because that was unlocked too. They found that was unlocked. Right. So that proves it. But with Perry Hernandez is that he left a bountiful of evidence, and this one they found no fingerprints whatsoever. There was no damage. There was no cigarettes or anything like that. Right. So he's seems like it, but it's not. Okay. But not the prosecution. The defense kept pointing towards him during the trial, but still everyone ruled him out. Because this was a famous case in Chicago, when David was released, they were still trying to figure out who had done this. This had aired on Unsolved Mysteries. Right. This had aired on Unsolved Mysteries of November 18th, 1990.